welcome to
Basecamp.
Oh my gosh.
No, but for real, this is our base camp.
Okay, oh that's right. I thought you were talking about me.
No. Well, yes and no.
Well, and I have my Basecamp t-shirt on.
Yeah, but so we have some nifty little mics here, so our sound quality should be a little bit better. We have our Basecamp flags. She's wrapping Basecamp flags on her shirt.
Yeah, this is like a nice little plug.
Don't check out her boobies though.
You can't even see my boobies right now.
Just look at the logo.
You can't even see the logo right now. I mean, I can try. Look at that. Now I'm matching. I have to stand up straight. But I just want to say that the audio has been driving Wesley crazy.
It has.
And so we finally did invest in like legit audio gear, as you can see. So if you, and also as you can hear, but shameless plug into this, go to our YouTube if you want to check out our Basecamp that we have. Like we're literally in this cute little thing that we have decorated. Technically it's one of our rooms that was already decorated like this because we have an outdoor gear room.
Yeah.
And it's got all our themes from our gear stuff, from our, like we've got pictures up of all our memories, our Colorado 14ers. Like you can see the Colorado 14ers thing in the back. You can see the national parks. You can see our Basecamp flags that we took on the PCT.
Yeah. And
then you can't see it, but there is above a half painting that Wesley actually painted because he's a painter. He's an artist as well.
Humble brag.
He really is a legit artist, like legit.
But we'll continue to put little things up on this wall.
Yeah, we'll try to like add things to it. So, watch it if you want, or if you're like bored one night and you're like, let me just go on to Yeti Walks Into Basecamp's YouTube and see what's up with them.
And when or if we ever get merch, we'll definitely wear it so you can see it and then you can want to buy it.
I'm super excited. We've been talking about it today. What kind of merch we would do. Like we could do one that's Cotton World updates. And then we could do one that says drink of the choice.
Maybe. We'll see. You remember that time I was on Instagram and I was like, which stickers do you think would be the best? So maybe some of those will be stickers too.
We could do stickers. We can do hats, t-shirts. I don't know. Stuff. Anyway. Well, okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to
Long Tangent. Yeti
Walks Into Basecamp. We're your hosts.
I'm Yeti Legs.
And I'm Basecamp.
And this is our podcast.
Welcome to our Basecamp.
If this is the first time that you're listening in, we are a married couple. We've hiked a couple trails together.
A few.
We've done the PCT in 22, the Tour de Mont Blanc in 22. I did the Colorado Trail last year in 23.
Yeah, and then we've done a good bit of like weekend backpackings, like, week-long stuff, just traipsing around Colorado. We do a lot of winter backpacking, snowshoeing, mountaineering. We've kind of put a hold on until we can actually go and mountaineer again because it does take money and time.
It's a rich man's sport.
It's a rich man's, woman's, rich man and woman's
sport. It's a rich human's sport.
Human sport, yeah. Can't be canceled culture.
No cancel culture. Yeah. Have you noticed that you've been seeing the word humankind a lot more?
Yeah.
Not mankind?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Listen, power to the woman.
Power to the woman. Look. Behind every great man is a great woman, and that great woman made that great man. That's how you need to look at it.
I mean, that's our story, isn't it?
That's our story, at least. If you have different sexual preferences, there's a great person behind you, whoever you are.
Behind you,
or at least a great dog, because we have Loba. And
yes,
Loba makes us better people.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Loba stuff going on right now. I guess that'd take us into Cotton World updates.
But we need to talk about the drink of the choice.
You want to do drink of the choice first?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your drink of the choice?
Coffee, because we've been doing morning interviews with a couple people that we will talk about, but coffee. What's yours?
Coffee. I am drinking water, but not just any water. This is Element water, LMNT water. So what it is they call them salt drinks. So each flavor is like a flavor of salt, like watermelon, salt, tangerine, salt. But they are electrolyte powders that you add to your water. They're sweetened with, I believe it's stevia.
Yeah, it's sugar-free.
Sugar-free.
For those of you who don't like added sugars.
And yeah, I've been kind of sick lately, so I've just been trying to hydrate as much as I would love to just be pounding a beer at noon.
Oh yeah, I could have a beer.
We could have a beer, but I prefer to hydrate first. So I'm trying to recover. I'm in the stage where I feel better, but I sound worse.
You can hear the
can sound
clogged nose as he's talking.
And I have a huge nose to clog up, so it's a lot of clog. Cotton World updates.
Wait, I want to go back to Element really fast because I feel like I've learned in the real world or in the cotton world, it's so much salt for me. But if I'm doing like a hardcore run, sweating like crazy, like that stuff it just hits right. And whenever we're on the trail, that hits right. Like it's just I'm chugging it like it's candy.
Like it's lava.
No.
She makes little sayings where everything is compared to lava.
Mm-mm.
It's flowing like lava.
That is not true.
Hot like lava.
That is not true.
Delicious like lava.
No.
Have you tried lava?
No. I don't use lava as
all
my
the time.
As my
all the time.
My comparison. No, I'll say stuff like Loba is flying like a bird.
Lava.
Loba is barking like a banshee.
Everything is fucking
that's
lava
not true.
And banshees.
No, it's not true. I don't use
true.
lava. I use lava when it's in context. You're as slow as lava.
That's subjective. Lava can be fast depending on the angle.
You're as hot as lava.
I'll take that.
See, it's got to be in context.
Yeah.
I don't just use lava for a lot. You're as icy as lava.
That's dumb.
Exactly. I wouldn't use that. That doesn't make any sense.
Or 10.
Okay. Well, Cotton World updates.
Cotton World
updates. Go
updates.
for it. You want to go first?
Let's see. I'm sick.
I got him sick.
She got me sick. She had a shoot over in California.
And we were flying back. I guess everybody got sick. I did too.
We're all sick as dogs now.
I'm not sick anymore.
No, she's good. Speaking of dogs, we took Loba on her first multi-night backpacking trip for Basecamp's birthday. We went over to the Black Hills in South Dakota, and we hiked some on the Centennial Trail, which is allegedly somewhere between 111 to 135-ish miles in length.
Oh, it is? I didn't realize it was like
I've seen
a range.
I've seen mixed numbers.
Okay. We're talking about trying to do this one with lobes, if we can do like a long, like maybe Thanksgiving or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we could easily do it. We went over there because there was little to no snow.
It was wonderful.
And we didn't want to hike in thigh deep snow and slush.
Like, I just don't know if people realize Colorado is still 10 feet under snow, and we're still getting massive snowstorms continually. So anyone doing the CDT this year, just understand you're probably going to be hitting 6 to 8 feet of snow in the high mountains until end of June, I would guess. Probably. I mean, it'll be packed down for sure because people will be getting out and doing it. Oh, look, it's snowing right now.
Yeah, go figure. The San Juans have gotten quite a bit of snow this year.
Well, we've gotten quite a bit of snow. We live in Breckenridge, Summit County.
I'm looking out the window right
now.
And
we live 2 miles from the CDT CT. And so if you listen to this podcast and you're planning on doing those trails this year, listen, shoot us a message and we'll try to keep you updated on what the snow levels look like as we're continuing to hike through them. Right now, we're snowshoeing because if we weren't, we'd probably be going into the chest, or I'd be going into the chest.
Yeah. And maybe we'll be doing some trail magic out there at the Gold Hill Trailhead.
Yes.
But please don't hit us up and ask if you could stay with us, because it's probably going to be a no. just because we don't have a huge space, and the spare bedroom is Basecamp's office, which she requires for work.
It's true. Unless you were our tramley on the PCT, you know who you are.
Hashtag endless zeros. That group.
Yeah. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
You can hit us up because you're special.
Because
no.
Endless zeros.
Everyone's special.
Everyone is special.
Everyone gets a reward.
Everyone is cool and is part of a team.
Yeah.
Okay. Other updates. Let's see. We've been in spring break. And
you've been in spring break.
Yeah, that's true. But you had a few days off as well.
I took days off so that we could hike the trail for my birthday. Yes.
Yeah. We upgraded our sound equipment here. We have been getting a lot of good momentum lately with our podcast. So
yes,
we're really
thank you, Backpacker.
For that.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
Thank you, Backpacker Radio, for that shameless plug you put in for us, because it's really people have been coming to our podcast to listen, which is so great. We love that.
You were actually on Backpacker Radio again recently, weren't you?
I was.
You want to explain that?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be out before this is out, but it's going to be a girls panel.
Ooh.
And so it's all questions for females that you've experienced on trail. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We were riffing like crazy the whole time. We didn't get through maybe even half the questions. So sorry if you did ask a question and we didn't answer it, because we had a lot of fun just talking through. We went real deep, real honest.
Yeah.
Might have mentioned a vibrator toothbrush in there.
You mean an electric toothbrush?
I call it a vibrating toothbrush.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow,
yeah.
That's special.
Well, somebody asked about vibrators on trail. So I was like, well, listen, if you really want a vibrator on trail that's lightweight, then just get a toothbrush that vibrates.
I don't know why they just made me think of American Pie.
Does she use a toothbrush vibrator?
No, but he puts his dick in a pie.
How does a dick in a pie and a vibrator toothbrush work together?
Using unexpected items for sexual pleasures.
But no, I tell this story. I guess I could tell it here too. But the reason, you know this already, the reason I even figured out a vibrating toothbrush is because I was about to meet Wesley for our first date ever. And I was so horny because we've been talking for like 6 to 8 weeks, and we hadn't met yet. And I was wet all the time whenever we talk or FaceTime because I was like so attracted to you. And our first date ever in person, I was like, I'm going to jump him like a spider monkey. So I can't let that happen in case he gets freaked out. So I stopped at Dollar General and I bought a toothbrush that vibrates. And I tried to use it while I was driving to get myself off while I was driving. I was like, wow, this is impressive. But I didn't get myself off, unfortunately. It just like built and didn't happen. I didn't orgasm. It was very frustrating. And then we meet, and of course we made out for like 5 hours that night.
There's a lot happening on that day for you.
It was a lot happening on that day, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That's impressive.
I know. So I don't know who's going to get it first. Backpacker Radio or here. Sorry if I just spoiled that story for Backpacker Radio.
Well, you did the interview like 2 weeks ago. It should be about
It's probably going to be out before this one.
What do they release on Mondays, I believe?
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, it's all things girls, periods, peeing,
all that stuff.
Female stuff, hormones, all the good stuff. Yeah, it was fun. Cooler cloths.
All things female.
All things female.
Wait, did you talk about pee funnels?
We did.
Good
and nobody's used them from the girls panel.
Okay.
And we were like, well, should we try it at least?
I think you should, because like we have built-in pee funnels. We have like a little hose that we could just direct.
I'm nervous though, because you have to understand that for a female, we're like, imagine the fact that it's going to build up in the funnel. Like I'm peeing faster than the funnel. And so it's going to fill up. So you've got to figure out I can't just stop my pee.
Can't you like control it with
No.
What, Kegels?
That's the vagina.
It's all same area.
No. I mean, I can try. Like, I guess after a little while, I could try to pull it back in and then release. But, like, I can't just stop my pee. It's just a different world.
I could stop
also, when I'm on my period, I don't want to be peeing in a funnel with blood coming out.
Yummy.
Like, there's just so many factors to being a woman on trail that are so different.
Every time I hear the word period, I think of what Bradley said, my cousin. He was like, I don't trust anything that bleeds for 7 days and doesn't die. That's pretty great.
Oh my God. Well, hey, but most women don't bleed 7 days unless they're in like a weird cyst mode. I mean, or something's going on. Normally it's like 5 days, I would say. Well, everybody's different. I'm normally 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other updates?
Not from me.
I think we're just chugging along. Loba will have been with us now for 2 months, and she's doing better and better.
Yeah.
We did off leash her for this multi-day backpacking trip, and she's a husky, which was very scary for us because huskies can be escape artists. But I think we figured she'd do okay because when we're at the dog park and we call her and say, Loba, come. Hi,
Yeah,
Lobes.
is that how you feel?
Yeah, Loba's in the room, clearly. Do you need...
She looks at us with like this cocked head.
Do you need something? Do you need something? Hi.
Yeah.
Do you need some? What do you need?
Attention.
What time did we take her out last? Oh, no, we walked her like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine. We'll take her on a walk in a dog park today. But we off leashed her. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. At the dog park, whenever we go towards the exit, she'll come to us because she doesn't want to be left. She has a massive FOMO thing with us where she hates being by herself. So we had this theory that maybe she'd stay by us and not run away when we're in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. So we actually let her go out of the tent while we were packing up the second day, and she stayed. And then she did go out of eye range to go to the water source, and I called her. I said, Loba, come, and she came right back. So
she did.
So we let her hike that way. We lost her once.
She lost us.
Well, she lost us. She probably went chasing after a bird or a squirrel or chipmunk, and she didn't come back. And every time we said Loba, come, when we couldn't see her, she'd always come back. But this time she didn't. And so we're like, uh-oh. So Wesley takes his backpack off, goes back towards the trail, and then I see some like little mountain hill, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to climb up there. So I take my backpack off. I go up there, and I'm calling her name, and she is all the way up the fuck of the mountain, like running down because she hears my voice. And, you know, dogs, once they lose your scent, like she didn't know where we were, I think, at that point either. And so she comes running, freaking out towards me. And she didn't like leave our side or our sight after that incident. She always would stop if she was ahead of us. She'd wait for us, make sure she saw us, and then she'd keep going.
I think it scared the shit out of her.
It scared her.
Yeah.
But we're still trying to learn how to have her like fully obey. I mean, clearly we've only had her for 2 months.
Yeah.
The fact that we were able to do that a month and a half into having her,
it's pretty big.
I feel like that's really big. But we're trying to figure this out for the AZT. How do we take her with us? Because leashing her the whole time would be a lot. We think.
The first time she gets hit by a cactus, she'll never hit another cactus.
Well, and it's also just, I think with her, she slightly obeys. Maybe she's just in teenage phase. She's almost a year old now. And there were a few times where she'd see me, like we would stop and I'd say, Loba, stop. She normally obeyed.
Yeah.
But a few times she started going down the trail and I'd say, Loba, stop, Loba, come. And she would stop, turn around, look at us, and then keep going.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's definitely, you know, we're going to figure out some obedience things and figure out how we can do this with her. Because mountain lion territory, bear, moose, if she goes too far away and we can't see her, she could be done. And that's what I get nervous about. So we don't want to leash her for the whole thing, but she needs to stay close enough.
She does. Where
these animals also know we're a part of her. So yeah, that's been like updates. I was really happy to see her off leash. She was so happy. Oh my gosh. She was just so happy, which was so fun.
We're I've been posting like Instagram updates or whatever with some short videos and pictures from that hike on the Centennial Trail. And one of the videos is just her running around camp, just loving life.
Yeah.
Just being like a little puppy husky.
Yeah. Which I think is so great for, you know, a husky to be able to explore, run. You know, we did 16 miles on the last day. And that was the other thing too, is we did 40 miles and she did really well. Like, she was super tired after every night, but she did great. And we did 16 something miles the last day. I swear she probably did 20. Anything else? I think that's it.
No other updates, I don't think.
I don't know. It's my mother's birthday today. Happy birthday,
St. Patty's
Mom.
Day.
Yeah.
Irish descent. What are the odds?
That really dates where we're at right now. Well, I guess we should get into talking about our episode.
Yes. So a couple weeks ago, I sent out a few questions or a poll in our Instagram story asking people, hey, what do you think would be best for the 2024 Thru-hiking season to hear about? And also, what do you want to hear about? And some of those top categories were hiker hacks and What else was it?
Resupply towns.
Resupply towns. I think one or two people said leave no trace, but we're going to do one on that anyways because I feel very passionate about leave no trace.
He loves it.
And today's episode was also one of the categories: water sources, water filters, and just everything to do with water and
hydration.
Hiking.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that today. We actually have two guests coming on our episode, and we have already interviewed them before we recorded this. And each interview went so great that
amazing.
We're going to have to make this a 2-part episode. Otherwise, it's going to be super lengthy. So,
which is not, I mean, we do lengthy
it's not a
stuff
bad thing.
Anyway, but this we feel like it's got a lot of information that we want people to really, like, we're very passionate about the environment, passionate about the leave no trace and all the things that we can do in Thru-hiking to help the environment. Mm-hmm. So we really feel like these two people that we interviewed, they brought that to the table, but it was longer interviews than we expected. So we definitely are going to put this into a 2-part.
Yep. And the second part is not going to have like a drink of the choice or Cotton World updates or whatever.
We're just going to get into it.
We're just going to cut this whole episode in half, so it's not super lengthy. Sorry, Tumbleweed. I know you like your 3+ hour episodes, but this is going to be a 2-parter. So our two folks that we interviewed, one represents Sawyer Products. So the infamous, no, not the infamous, that's a bad word. The famous Sawyer Squeeze filter that everybody has at least heard of in the hiking community, even if you don't use it. And also we have a rep from CNOC. We've actually been corrected. It's CNOC, but spelled CNOC.
A lot of people say CNOC. We did for a long time.
Yeah.
We found out it's CNOC.
Yep.
So there you go.
And also their other sister company, which is called Diorite, which makes trekking poles and other equipment like that, which
carbon
is
fiber,
completely unrelated to water and water filtration, but something you definitely want to hear about. Stay tuned for those awesome interviews that we had. Lots of cool information and some great detailed plugins there. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun getting to interview them, and both incredible people. One from Sawyer, one from, really, it's called Minimal Gear, and that's CNOC is actually under Minimal Gear. But, a lot of people just have heard of CNOC Outdoors. So we dive into that as well with them. And we really hope you guys enjoy. We for sure did. So.
Yep. All right. Here goes the first interview now. All right. So we are here today with Katie Houston, a.k.a. a.k.a. Oats. Sorry, y'all. Oats. I've been sick, so maybe it's affecting my brain a little bit. But Katie is going to be one of 2 guests that we have on our episode today. And just to give you a little brief background on Katie and who she is, she originally worked for The Trek, which is where we first met her. And now she works for Sawyer as their community manager.
Thumbs up,
right? She has over 3,000 miles plus of Thru-hiking experience. And she has a husky named Thru. And I guess we really just want to know, what do those 3,000 miles of Thru-hiking experience break down into? What trails?
Yeah, totally. I graduated college in 2018 and always planned on doing the AT afterwards. So hopped on in February of 2019, and that was my first Thru-hike. My degree is actually in geology. And so after I did the Appalachian Trail, I was like, I got to figure out how to pivot my entire life to do this now. Because it really was just, I really, really loved it. It really clicked as a passion for me. So then I ended up living at Woods Hole Hostel for a time before COVID. I was supposed to be there the whole hiking season, but when the hospitality industry shut down, I moved to Texas. Ended up doing the Lone Star Hiking Trail, the Colorado Trail, which was one of my favorites. About 2 years ago, I did the Appalachian High Route. I kind of got back to the East Coast because I'm an East Coast baby. I was born and raised in Asheville in the Southern Appalachians. And so I really, Jennifer Farr Davis kind of pioneered this 330-mile route that makes a loop, starts and ends in Burnsville, which is this beautiful little mountain town near Asheville.
I love Burnsville.
Yeah, it's beautiful, huh? Gosh. They got some good rocks out there too. Some good kyanite,
awesome.
Some good muscovite. But yeah,
geologists.
I don't know if you know, Wesley also is. Oh wait, no, it's ecology. Sorry, never mind.
It's a different ology.
It still rocks, but
yeah.
But yeah, I did that 330-mile loop in 2022. Ended up moving back to Asheville in January of last year, and since then, last year my dog did part of the long trail with me, and then I finished out most of it after I put her in boarding for a bit. She's got like 100-mile limit. That's kind of her sweet spot. And then this fall we did the Foothills Trail together, which was awesome. Yeah, and now I'm just kind of fitting in whatever adventures seem to overlap with trail festivals, and when I conveniently can take time off. And like we were saying before we hopped on, like I really love these kind of 1 to 3 week adventures right now. I think eventually I'll get the Triple Crown. Eventually, it's on the list. Everything is on the list.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, everything's on the list. But truthfully, I couldn't be away from my dog that long anymore. For sure, she's a really good dog. So, and she doesn't want to hike that long. So, just kind of playing it by ear this year. I really am not entirely sure what's next, but always stoked.
Can you also tell us what is your role with Sawyer?
Totally. I am Sawyer's hiking/lifestyle community manager. So I manage our Sawyer squad, which is kind of our hiking community. We have the blog, and I run all of our social media platforms. Mostly lots of partnerships, both with individuals like creators like y'all, really talented creatives, or oftentimes we get organizations reaching out to have product donated for raffles or fundraisers or gear. And oftentimes we're constantly just networking with people. So one connection leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And we're just trying to keep up with everyone that reaches out. It's a pretty dream job, honestly.
Yeah. Are you a part of the Backpacker Radio giveaway?
Is that going on right now?
Yeah.
I don't think so. We have a relationship with Backpacker Radio. We sent them to AT Days last year. Hopefully we'll do the same this year. And obviously Zach is like the whole reason that I'm in this industry, honestly, because I got started with the trek, and actually Sawyer reached out to him to see if he had somebody in mind that would do a good job at community engagement.
No way.
And
that's so cool.
Zach gave him my name.
Oh, perfect.
I'm eternally
perfect.
grateful.
Yeah.
He's so
Dude,
sweet.
Zach is the man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
so cool. Yeah.
Chance just did the Foothills Trail with her dog, which is exactly what Thru and I did a couple months ago.
Yeah. Oh man, so that's so great.
They're super sweet people. I don't think we're in the giveaway. We kind of we don't really send out emails very much, and so giveaways that involve emails to be sent out, we typically opt out of. So yeah, we did the Badger sponsorship. We were one of the title sponsors for that. I think the sponsorship tier is king size candy bar, which I think is hilarious. But
nice.
Raised over $20,000 for Leave No Trace this year, which is so cool.
Oh,
amazing.
So
amazing. So thankful that Leave No Trace is just becoming more and more accepted, I think, in our community, and continually just growing. I love that.
And sweet baby Jesus, it needs to.
Oh,
this is getting out of control.
Oh, yeah. Very grateful on that front. I think a lot of the shame is coming out of the conversation, and a lot of education is going in. Like, I think there's just a tone shift, which is really nice to see, because that's like, actually what's going to change behavior for the better.
Yeah, that's good.
You're from the East Coast. Have you heard the saying before that honey attracts more flies than vinegar?
Absolutely. Did you quote that in one of your articles recently?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I think you wrote an article about Leave No Trace for Sawyer. Everyone go check it out on the blog. But
hey, shameless plug.
Did we release it yet? No.
I don't think you have.
I don't
Sorry,
think so.
Clearly I'm not as caught up as I thought I was, but
it's okay. Maybe they'll release about the same time, the podcast and the.
Ooh, you're talking to the right person. I can coordinate that.
There you go.
We can coordinate that. That would be awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, everyone go check it out, because it'll be out when this does come out.
Perfect.
Yes, if you didn't know, also that Yeti Legs is an incredible writer, and super stoked that he's getting more and more opportunities to get to use his pen and cultivate that. So definitely go check out. Sawyer's been putting blogs out with his name on them. So go check him out.
Big Sawyer. I think I'm a passable writer.
No, I think you're a good writer.
I genuinely love your pitches and your pieces. They're very
creative.
Fun. And I love that you're collaborative. I really enjoy that it feels like we are working together on it instead of like it's one way or the other way. And, you know, I feel like just on a personal level, like it's just a joy to work with you.
Well, I think it should be. This isn't corporate America.
It's not. Like, it's not.
You need to talk with each other.
Totally.
You know, no one has the final say, really, until you sort it out. But there's one last question I wanted to ask you before we get into our question set for you. You said that you carry around a D20 die.
Yeah.
Could you please talk about that?
Yeah, totally.
And for those of you who don't know what a D20 die is, can you explain what a D20 die is?
Absolutely.
It's super nerdy.
It's super nerdy. I know this is an audio medium, but I just pulled out my trusty D20. It's a little metal dice.
Actually, we're going to put this on YouTube too.
Oh,
so for those of you, another plug, go to YouTube to check this out if you want to see this die.
Totally. It's she's beautiful. And it's a metal dice. It's 20-sided. It's one of the pieces for Dungeons and Dragons, the tabletop role-playing game. If you don't know anything about it, it's basically collaborative storytelling. And truly, there is just a huge, there's one person that makes the world that the other people are playing in as characters. That person plays all of the non-player characters, and you get to make the plot, but it's also dependent on the player's decisions. It's just a very fun improv storytelling, collaborative, silly game. So the D20 means if you get a 1, you fail whatever you're trying to do. There's like an element of luck, which also mirrors life, which is funny. And then if you get a nat 20, then you get a critical success. You basically did the thing. So it's always very fun to just, I got a 5. That's not very good. This doesn't bode well, but my friends and I always joke, like, we have a +0 to concentration because we all have ADHD, or we have,
oh my gosh,
we have a -1 to opening jars. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
She has a -5.
Now you say I have a -5. Yeah, I am so bad at opening jars. I was gonna say, you said she. Does your die have a name?
Does she have a name? She doesn't have a name. No, I just love using she, her pronouns for inanimate objects. But
that's amazing.
It's perfect.
No, actually, I have a camper that I got like 6 months ago, and it's my baby, and I haven't settled on a name for her either. So I'm kind of,
oh man,
I don't know, but we'll see.
You have time.
Okay.
I got time. Yeah, I got time. It's a metal dice. This is gonna be here long after I am.
And so what's the purpose for carrying this with you everywhere you go? And do you carry it when you go backpacking? Because that's space weight.
No, it is space weight. I've never carried a D20 on a hike. I might have to start though. And sorry, what was the first part of the question?
No, I'm just wondering why you even carry it around in your day to day.
I'll give you an example. Honestly, it's just for the bits. It's for me and my friends, like making jokes. So the other day, we were all at our favorite coffee bar, and my roommate ordered vanilla latte, which was her second drink. And I was like, hey, if I get a nat 20, will you chug that drink?
That is amazing.
And she said, yeah, why not? And I got a nat 20. That was a 9. I'm really not rolling well today. But I got a nat 20, and so she did. And we had her just jokingly roll a Constitution saving throw, which is like what you would roll in the game. It's one of the mechanics. And she got a nat 1, which was just very cute and funny. It's just very good for the bits. There's no real yeah, and
that's
sometimes
amazing.
We'll use it to make decisions if we want to like go somewhere for dinner, or
that's a great idea.
Making somebody go do a chore. Like if it's a 1 through 10, you do it.
Idea.
If it's an 11 through 20, I do it. Yeah.
After she chugged the latte, did she poop her brains out?
A wonderful question. The answer is probably.
We love talking about poop.
Oh yeah,
Probably.
it's a
Probably,
Thru-hiking
yeah.
podcast, of course.
It's
It is.
right.
We have an episode coming up just about poop.
Just about poop
Yeah.
stories.
Just
Wonderful.
about
We're going to
poop.
talk about our poop stories. Any questions people have? Yeah.
Everyone's
Well,
got a poop story.
I was going to say we should get some of this dye because whenever we take loadout at night, because we're so tired at night, it's like, who wants to take loadout? So we rock, paper, scissors it. But this would be a funner way to do it.
She just says this because she always loses rock, paper, scissors.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
See, if you go on trail with one, don't get a metal one because it's like a couple grams, you know?
I was going to
Yeah.
say that's pretty heavy.
Yeah,
Get a
right.
little cheap plastic.
Exactly.
Hey, if you put it in like a hip pocket, it doesn't count towards base weight, so you're good.
Exactly. It's not. It's worn weight then,
Put it
right?
in a fanny pack.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
just to show you guys, that's my dice corner. Those are all my roommates and I's dice. All those little test tubes and stuff. Each have a different dice set. So they're they start with a D4, which is like a little pyramid, and they go up to the D20.
This is amazing.
I am so impressed.
Whenever we're in North Carolina, we'll come say hi.
Please do. We
seriously
can do
need
a
to
little
hang
one
out.
shot. I'm literally talking about that with Sawyer, like the team and our ambassadors, like when we get together for something, like doing a little one shot because none of them have played, but they're all very interested.
I'd play too. I've never played before, so that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like we're going to have
Dude.
to play.
Yeah,
I know.
done and done.
Because we got married in North Carolina anyway.
Yeah, we
so
did. We got
That's
married
right.
in West Jefferson. Well, in West Jefferson. So very, very north.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah, North Carolina is very dear to us. If we didn't move to Colorado, we would have moved to North Carolina easily.
It's
Yeah.
a good
Easily.
place. Well,
Yeah.
Western North Carolina. No shade to Piedmont and coastal, but the mountains are.
No.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah,
across
it
the
is.
state.
For sure.
However, the Mountains to Sea Trail does sound a little painful with all that road walking.
That's true.
Ooh.
I did so the 330-mile loop trail that I did, the Appalachian High Route in 2022, includes the first 3 segments of the Mountain to Sea Trail from Clingman Stone to Mount Mitchell, and then it hops on the AT. It's beautiful. Those segments, there's only, I want to say, like less than 10 miles of road walking in like the 140 miles. So it's totally, and it's on the Blue Ridge Parkway. So even just that little segment, I'm kind of like, ooh, I got my favorite part done.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Have you ever heard of the ultra race Hellbender?
Yes.
It's a 100-mile race. So I was training for that race before COVID shut down. I got in and I would go up to North Carolina every single weekend and I'd go run those trails, like do 27, 30-mile runs, just like on those trails, like Mount Mitchell, the whole ridge. And they are some of the most stunning, hard-ass trails. Like they're intense.
Oh,
But,
yeah. Oh,
epic.
I love that that part of the world. It really feels like home to me.
Yeah.
But the mountains to see over in Linville Gorge fucking sucks.
Really? I haven't done the mountains
yeah.
to see over there. I've done like
He hates it.
specific hikes, but why?
Hands and knees crawling.
Oh yeah, we were straight the fuck up. Like
leaf covered hills, like sliding backwards,
Oh,
thigh deep in mud.
the mountains
Yeah.
to see through there. I don't know much about that. I'm gonna have to look into it. And
You should
bring
check
some
it
knee
out.
pads, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those like if you really want to hurt, go do that one.
I do love type 2 fun.
Yeah.
You're talking to the right person.
That's type 2. There it is.
We're all type 2ers here.
Yeah. I think we just love that.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
Should we get to the episode?
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So yeah, the whole purpose of this episode is to talk about water sources, water filtration, because we sent out a survey on our Instagram for plug-in for the Ginger and the Joy, but also for our podcast Instagram, Yeti Walks Into Basecamp.
Which is new, so
And-
go check it out.
Go check it out. One of the top topics that people wanted to hear about was water sources and filtration. So here we are, and we're talking to one of the experts here representing Sawyer. And Sawyer hits close to home with us because we've used Sawyer Squeeze on all of our Thru-hikes.
Love, love, love.
So we want to ask you a few questions about what you do with Sawyer. We've already done your intro and everything. So let's get into it.
Let's
Sounds good.
do it.
The first question is yours.
I thought you were doing odds. I was doing evens.
Well, I've already asked her that first question.
Roll
Okay,
D20 about
fine.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry. that was the first question.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, baby. Okay, next question. So how long have you been with Sawyer? Which you did say this actually. You said you've been with them for 13 months now. But which of their products are in your current hiking gear loadout? Which ones do you use?
That's a great question. I have a Squeeze, which is the workhorse model water filter. I like bringing it to all the trail festivals that I travel to. I get to do AT days and Pacific Crest Trail days. And I just got back from the AT kickoff at Amicalola Falls in Georgia. That was so much fun.
Beautiful.
But I love having my filter there on my smart water bottle because you can see how like totally wrecked it is and how used and loved it is. And occasionally I get to like demo a really good back flush if I haven't done one in a while. So Squeeze definitely, Permethrin definitely. That's our gear and fabric treatment, insect repellent. I use that. Well, I have a Mary Poppins supply, so I use it on literally everything. Like my tent. And
we do have a Mary Poppins bag just for your Sawyer products that you pull out.
I actually took out the shower in my camper, and that's where all of my Sawyer product lives. So anytime I drive my camper around, I've got like everything I might need to hook somebody up with stuff.
Oh.
It's pretty
That's amazing.
It's pretty rad. But I also use it for my dog. It's her flea and tick medicine, or her flea and tick treatment. It just goes on her fur and bonds to her fur like it bonds to the fabric and clothes. Yeah. I actually prefer it to the like medicated flea and tick treatments because those take the tick biting the animal to work. And usually what happens with us is we go into the tent and they crawl off of her and crawl onto me. But with the Permethrin, they just have to walk across an inch of fur and they start the dying process and fall off, which is super rad. And it's also just, it's super easy. Once every 6 weeks, or it's 6 weeks for ticks and 30 days or 34 days for fleas. So I just once a month, check it off my list, spray her down from her tail to her neck, and then take her on a walk, and she's dry and she's good.
I think that same stat I've seen on your site for shoes, right?
Yeah.
You put it on your shoes, they crawl off like 1 inch and they're gone.
Yeah. Ticks are kind of gross. They take, which we all know, but they take like one breath every 10 minutes. And so that's why it takes like an inch of crawling across something for them to breathe in the Permethrin and start the dying process.
Wait a minute. They take a breath every 10 minutes?
It's something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, they're kind of gross.
Fucking ticks, man. Okay.
We actually worked with Celia Binder, who's this really incredible like graphic designer. She did Miranda Goes Outside, like her kind of swag and stuff. But last year for Lyme Disease Awareness Month, she helped us make a little comic about ticks and how Permethrin can help, keep them off of you. And she was trying to take a like ecological approach at one point of like, a blue jay is getting a pack of tick cereal and that's what he's eating and that's their ecological role. Like she was trying to find some ecological purpose that they serve, like mosquitoes are food for dragonflies, that kind of thing. But ticks are just pointless, pretty pointless.
They're vermin.
Yeah.
Right. Pointless. No one likes them.
Yeah.
Fun fact. So ticks have a 3-year life cycle. And they have to have 2 blood meals in order to reach full maturity to where they can actually lay eggs to make babies. So they're born, they'll feed, they'll like grow and overwinter. So they usually like pack underneath the snow and they'll just stay there. And then they'll get up the next year and then they have a 3-year life cycle. So it takes 3 years for them to like finally lay eggs and make babies.
Really?
So that's multiple blood meals per tick. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, here's my question is, what is the purpose of a tick in the ecosystem? That's my question.
I do not know of one.
I don't think
what do they serve?
Yeah, that's kind of
Can we
what
just
Celia
kill them
was
all?
saying. Yeah, they don't really do much good for anybody except vector-borne disease.
Yeah, I mean, at least mosquitoes are pollinators,
right?
And food for other things, right?
Yeah.
But animals don't even eat ticks.
Or if they do, it's not a significant portion of their diet. And so taking them out of the ecosystem wouldn't eradicating them wouldn't necessarily have disastrous ecological consequences. Kind of love the Permethrin for that.
And that's another thing too. People think that ticks are like lying in wait and they're going to just kamikaze drop on you. That's not what they do. They're sitting there and they have little sticky legs, and whenever you walk across or a deer walks across, they stick to you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not like dropping from trees.
They're climbing from grass.
Yes, and snakes are not dropping from trees either. I've heard people think that too.
I bet in the jungle in the Amazon they do that.
Just the clumsy ones.
Just the clumsy ones, I think. Yeah.
Okay, wait. To go back to what else do you put or keep with you? I know you said you've got the Sawyer Squeeze and you've got the Permethrin.
Yep, I use
Permethrin.
Yep. I can't say it.
I got my Sawyer Squeeze on a smart water bottle. Got the Permethrin that I just treat before. It's not actually something I carry in my pack.
I was curious. Okay.
Yeah, I do carry Picaridin in my pack. That's our like topical insect repellent. I really like the lotion. It's longer lasting and more effective than DEET, and it's also my dog's wooing. It's also sensory wise just a more enjoyable experience than like a chemical bath and like, you know, oily bug repellents. I actually didn't start using Picaridin until I hopped on with Sawyer, and I had been using DEET and just taking, you know, 100% DEET chemical baths and big old head net, and that's how I did all of my hikes up until I realized like, oh, I could do this once a day and it's a lotion, and then I'm good and it's effective. Like that was pretty cool. On the long trail, I took like 6 of the little 4-ounce bottles of the Picaridin lotion, and it was black fly season. It was gnarly, and so I was just handing them out to people that looked miserable on the trail.
Black flies are the worst.
Oh wait, does it help with black flies too?
The Picaridin is effective against biting flies. The Permethrin is not. That's actually one of the main differences in them. They both are effective at repelling / killing 55 plus types of bugs, but a distinction is that the Permethrin does not do biting flies. The Picaridin does. So we recommend using them both.
That's good to know.
Yeah, for complete coverage.
Okay.
But
I mean, that's a really good thing to know because I wish we had it on the PCT when the biting flies hit, because it's less like mosquito repellent doesn't work.
And the Permethrin so that is a treatment, but the Picaridin is a topical lotion for yourself. Okay.
Yep, that's right.
And to this, I have a question about this later, but let's just go ahead and knock it out right now because it's great. When I hear Permethrin and Picaridin, I think chemical. Can you explain that these are not chemicals and what they are?
Yeah, totally. Permethrin is derived from the chrysanthemum flower. Pyrethrum is the natural insect repellent of the chrysanthemum flower. And so we have a synthetic version of that. That's the active ingredient in our pharmaceutical grade Permethrin. So if you've heard about Permethrin being used like agriculturally or in the military like decades ago, often ours is a pharmaceutical grade, so it's just a premium, like more pure version, I guess.
Okay.
The Picaridin, the active ingredient, is the natural insect repellent of the pepper plant, which is pepperin.
What?
So that's the active ingredient we use in that one. And they're both, Picaridin especially is really nice because it's safe on gear. It's not going to like dissolve your gear. It can be used.
Important.
Oh, very important. Especially for like hunch fishers that have like gear that they're constantly like fidgeting with. It can be used on kids 6 months and older and pregnant women. So it's just very family friendly. And the Permethrin is really nice because once you treat your clothes or your dog or what have you, once it's bonded to the fibers in your clothes or the fur of your dog, it doesn't come off except with the UV exposure of the sun or the agitation of a washing machine. So it's not going to come off on you if you're crossing a river or you're excessively perspiring or in a rainstorm or something like that.
Wow.
Okay.
It is totally bonded. The only thing that's going to degrade it are the UV exposure or the washing machine. So that's why we say 6 weeks of UV exposure or 6 washes in the washing machine. For Thru-hikers, we know which comes first.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me correct what I said earlier. So chemicals can be naturally occurring. So they're naturally occurring chemicals. They're not in vitro. They're not like synthesized by some scientist in a lab. They're inspired by nature and synthesized based on that inspiration.
Can you say that again? Chemicals are not. So Wesley's also a chemist, by the way. So this he knows what he's talking about. But chemicals are not bad. Natural.
You can have a completely synthetic chemical that was cooked up in a lab by somebody, and then they did a lot of testing with it. Or you can have like these naturally derived and inspired chemicals, like what Oats is talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's probably not super easy to get large concentrations of the stuff from chrysanthemums. So of course they would try and synthesize it in the lab, but it's what already occurs naturally. They're just making it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
It's not like DEET or
where it's just full of chemicals.
Because I've used DEET and I feel sick after I put that stuff on my body.
I feel I'm smelling. I'm like breathing in bad stuff. I can tell.
Yeah.
And let's think about this. Even we were talking about leave no trace. This is a really big topic of leave no trace. It's like when you're sweating off these chemicals, they're going into the ground. It's not good for the environment either.
There's a big discussion.
I know you've said that.
There's a big discussion right now in the outdoor industry about forever chemicals like PFAS. Meg Carney just released a big podcast like series about forever chemicals specifically in like the outdoors. Very, very interesting. But Sawyer does not have any forever chemicals at all in any of our productions,
which is huge.
Yeah, this is why we're seeing a big change from the materials they use for raincoats.
Yeah, exactly.
And for waterproofing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that was a good little tangent, right?
Good little rabbit hole.
Is there anything else in your pack that you take with you besides those specific things that you can think of for Sawyer? Just to give new Thru-hikers or seasoned Thru-hikers?
Yeah, so the other thing I would kind of recommend, I think some of your other questions kind of get into this, but I want to empower people to do whatever, like honor their own process with how they manage their water on trail and how they like to do it. If somebody is telling you you are wrong for using a squeeze in a certain way, they're probably just gatekeeping. So like using it on a smart water bottle, using it in a gravity system. Like I have a CNOC bag, which is this like flexible plastic that you've made one. I've seen your cool little trail engineering that you've done to get a gravity system going. But
CNOC will actually be the other interview.
Yeah, we love CNOC.
We also love CNOC. That's awesome. But I like having a gravity system at camp because then I don't have to sit there squeezing the whole time. But depending on the hike, sometimes I just go with the smart water bottle. Usually you have a dirty and a clean. It's hard to find a wrong way to do it, to be completely honest. It can be used in line with a bladder. And the thread size on a Sawyer filter is universal. It's 28 millimeters. So that's why it fits on smart water bottles, Life water bottles, Coke bottles, that kind of thing.
I love that.
Yeah, so the two main mouth sizes you'll see in the water filtration world are 28 and 42. 28 is the smart water, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. So here is a question. And this is a touchy subject, I'm sure. But the Sawyer bladders. Let's talk about these.
Listen, I have answers.
Okay. People either love them or they hate them.
Totally.
So we originally started out backpacking with Sawyer bladders and realized they weren't for us. So we went to the CNOC, and we love the CNOC Sawyer hybrid. First of all, what are the bladders made of? What's the material? Because they're kind of a stiff, rigid plastic. Do you know?
That's exactly what I would say. It's kind of a stiff yet flexible plastic. They're made to be rolled, so you can fill them up with dirty water, put your squeeze on it. It's got that 28 millimeter thread. So dirty water in, squeeze on top, or mini or whatever filter, and then meant to be rolled. Where was I going with that? Can you repeat your question? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm just curious,
like
what it's made from, the bag. Yeah.
Totally. Like you said, stiff rigid plastic is about as far as I can.
No, that's okay.
I can venture to. On the topic of trying to give advice for new backpackers, it's really nice to have a rigid bottle option like a smart water bottle and a soft bag option like a flexible, because there's oftentimes that it will be difficult to collect water. If it's not like a raging river or a stream, it might be a puddle, and you might find having something that you can scoop is really important. So having a bag on you is always fun, but I know your complaint. I assume I know your complaint. I'm gonna guess it because honestly, it's kind of mine too. It's the durability, and they often burst or leak. So interesting
at the mouth.
At the mouth
every time.
Yeah. So interestingly, they are actually intended to burst at 7 psi. Because it's kind of a fail safe, because any greater than that, any psi greater than that being shoved through the filter could potentially damage the fibers and make it not as effective. But the so if it is bursting at 7 psi, it's probably a sign that it's time for a good backflush, or you might be squeezing too hard. Like often
I probably squeeze them too hard.
He squeezes it too hard.
Yeah, my thing is the O-rings. That was my like big thing when I started, or the washers when I started using Sawyer filters, because they would always fall out of the bottom. But then I realized I was cranking it down onto the smart water bottles, which was causing it to warp, when really all it needs is like a snug fit. So those are kind of my favorite things to be like, no, there was actually a reason, and there's actually potentially a solution. But and I also use the CNOC bags on trail. I just like them.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with using something else.
I will say though, in ultra running, those bags are better for me, because if you're doing a 30-mile day running, you need a supply source for water. You're not going to take out there because you're sweating so much when you're running.
3 liters.
So, easily 3 liters. So it's like whenever you see a water source, you need to. I actually used the smaller Sawyer when I first got into ultra running, and it was very lightweight, and the bag was really lightweight. So I was able to connect my like little straw to my bladder into filtering it, but I just think that that's a place I did use it, and I appreciated it because it's lightweight, and it was like, and it's small. It packed into like a super small runner's pack, versus hiking. You're out there every single day. You're like, you can't let your pack, your bladder blow out or anything like that. So yeah, little different thought there.
Yeah.
Totally.
I was like, oh yeah, I remember when I first started running, I was like, I used the Sawyer bag and it was great.
Wait, you just said something. You said 3 liters. Talk more on that. You said 3 liters in like terms of sweating.
Ooh, you might actually know. It sounds like you know something very particular, like statistics based. Whereas I'm going to talk out of my butt. But
no, talk out of the posterior.
Totally. The odds of being dehydrated on trail are very, very high, even if you're very good about staying hydrated. You just sweat a ridiculous amount. Typically on trail, I'll drink a liter every 5 to 10 miles, and it totally depends, and that's definitely not enough. But I'm always kind of constantly looking ahead for water sources, and I always like to have about a half-liter buffer just to make sure that I can make it to the next source. Actually, when I started the AT, I was using iodine tablets. And so it was like February. And so
you're not supposed to use those regularly.
Well, I learned that quick. I was really impatient. Yeah. That's truly what got to me. I would get to a stream and you would have to wait 30 minutes, and then you're carrying your water, and 1 liter of water is 2.2 pounds, I believe, just over 2 pounds.
Yeah.
A pint's a pound the world around. That's the saying. Pint's a pound.
I love that.
But yeah, it makes such a huge difference. I had an overuse injury after my first 2 weeks on the AT coming out of the Smokies. I got really severe Achilles tendonitis and had to seriously reevaluate my gear. And that's when I switched over to Sawyer.
Okay.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Look at that switch.
I was like, what's that blue thing that everybody has?
I know, right?
We're in your same boat though, because we use Aquatabs, chlorine tablets, to chlorinate our water.
Mm-hmm. We're so lazy half the time.
Mm-hmm. We're like, just fill, drop, 30 minutes. Like, you're good.
Well, and it's more like if it's beautiful water, or it's like snow water, snow melt water or something like that, then we're like, let's just chlorine tab it and go.
Yeah, but if you're pulling like cow pond water, you need to filter, tab, and flavor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys a question. What's the worst water source you guys have encountered?
Oh God.
Ooh, I think the one that's coming to my mind, and on the PCT, remember that one where we had to go underneath? It was in SoCal, and we had to go underneath that cistern thing, and it was like green and like we had to, I think there was like a dead animal in it or something.
You have like a 1.5 foot clearance to crawl underneath the awning.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember that. Oh wait, you haven't done the PCT yet, right?
It's on the list. I'll make sure to avoid it.
It's one of those where it's like, and you need it too, because I think that the next water source is like 20 miles. I mean, it's like one of those where you're just in between and you're desperate, and you have to like crawl under this cistern thing, and it's just green and it's just gross.
We're following some people who are doing the ACT right now because we would love to do it if we can't find the time. But there's a clawfoot bathtub.
I've seen
some of
that
these pictures,
recently.
and it's filled with stagnant water.
I think Carl, Professor, just posted a picture of that.
Yes. We've been following his journey on it right now, and we're like, oh man.
I think the worst source that I remember, just like off of a long trail, was here in Colorado. It was from a cow pond.
I know what you're talking about. Like, if it's on the Colorado Trail, I remember a gnarly cow pond. No.
This was in the Dominguez Wilderness.
We did a loop trail of 40 miles in the Dominguez Wilderness. Yeah. Oh, it was bad.
It was the worst. And it was the last source for like 15 miles.
Like we had no water.
You know how those go.
Yeah. And it was just like this stagnant, disgusting cow pond where you could see cow shit everywhere. And like, it was bad.
But I know what you mean. The 30 miles of cow pasture on the CT. Yep. Yeah. That's it. It's terrible.
I love that.
That's what I filtered, tabbed, and flavored twice.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. You can see the cow shit like on the shore of the little creek.
I got kind of lucky. Yeah. It was like, kind of lucky, give and take. It was pouring when I went through, so it was kind of like flushed out, you know?
Yeah, a little diluted.
Yeah,
okay.
Right? At least there's a bit of a flow going.
Yeah.
At least there's something.
That's a great segue to the other half of my question. Flow. So with the Sawyer bladders, it's really hard to fill those up without flow. You were talking about using a cup. We actually used our dog's bowl the other day to fill them up. Do you have any like strategies for people using those bladders and how to get that initial force to pop out the bottom of the bag and start filling it up?
If they don't have another water bottle or no other source.
Yeah, totally. This might sound gross, but I'm a Thru-hiker. I just kind of put my hand around it and blow like through my hand. So like not my mouth touching where the dirty water would be, but I just blow some air in it. And typically that works okay. But truthfully, if there is a source that you are struggling to get water into the bag and you don't pivot to another tool, it might just be pretty hard.
Okay.
So I have seen people take their smart water bottles and cut like 3 little inches off the bottom so it makes a little cup, and then you can scoop into the bag. That's a great strategy. And like I said, having a hard-sided option that's smaller and something like the Vector or like the CNOC Vector that you can open into a big bladder. There's just different strokes for different folks. This is also where I'm going to be like, honor your process. Like if you're, if you're hiking through Colorado and you're up at the snow where the snow melt's coming down, you're probably not going to need to worry about it. But if you're on the Lone Star hiking trail and there are puddles, that's and you're scooping, that might be a little harder.
Just hope a pika didn't poop in your nice water flow in Colorado.
When I called
or a marmot.
Oh yeah, when I did the Colorado Trail, Thru did a couple segments with me. And I called pikas Thru nuggets because she kept trying to get them.
I bet.
Her prayer
We've
drive
been
was
talking
nuts.
about that. That's exactly what we've been talking about with Lova, our husky, as well. Is like when we get her up into the 14ers once the snow melts, she is just going to go nuts with these pikas and marmots.
And the marmots too.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
It's your question.
I know. So we talked about. You mentioned briefly about filter care. So wanted to talk more about if you'll go into detail about the backwashing and the sleeping. The first question or first part is, can you provide some insight into how long a Sawyer Squeeze can last if backwashed and cared for properly? So let's talk about that, and then we'll move into the next part.
Because Sawyer boasts a lifetime warranty on the Sawyer Squeezes if you take care of it.
We do. We absolutely do. We actually have some very, very awesome research coming in. So I know we'll get into this in the back half a little bit, but we've been doing international work. Sawyer's been doing international clean water projects since 2008. And one of our first charity partners, Water with Blessings, now Water by Women in Honduras, started their work in that country distributing water filters, and they celebrated 15 years of, they had a quinceañera. They celebrated 15 years of clean water in Honduras, and Miranda Webster told a really beautiful story about it on her YouTube. But there are folks that have been using one Sawyer filter that they got 13 plus years ago every single day for their families. And the Water Women program specifically includes other people in the community too, not just your own family, but using it every single day, back flushing it every day, and it's still just as effective. And they're still not getting sick. The diarrhea reduction rates haven't gone up. And these are amazing. 90% diarrhea reduction rates, which is really, really impactful for community health. But yeah, it could last you a lifetime. Just a good solid back flush whenever it needs it should restore up to 98% of the original flow rate of the filter. And truly as long as it doesn't have any physical damage or it doesn't freeze, like you mentioned, it can truly last you a lifetime. It should.
How many times would you suggest backwashing is the question, like, especially when you're through hiking?
Yeah, this is also kind of up to you. It's your comfort level. I'll give you some information to help you decide. I did it about 4 times on the Appalachian Trail. I would recommend probably doing it more because I was getting kind of frustrated with the flow rate and I just wasn't making it a priority when I went into town. But typically what folks do is, as like through hikers, as you're town hopping and you see hiker boxes, there's a little plunger in there that, comes in all of your Sawyer filter kits. And just whenever you're in town, just make it a habit to do a good back flush and your flow should stay good the whole time. Okay. It's up to your personal preference. It also kind of depends on the water sources you've been having. If you have a water source that has had a lot of sediment in it, or a very mineral rich water source or something like that, these are all kind of factors that go into that. The folks that use it every single day for clean water, for many people, they are back flushing every day. But truly, you can bring a filter back from the brink pretty often. Like, say you didn't back flush it, you store it, you take it out of storage and it kind of has a fungal smell because it was still wet. Like, you can soak it in a little bleach mixture and back flush it, and then it's good to go. If there's, like I said, a mineral rich water source, you can soak it in vinegar and back flush then, and that helps break up a lot of the minerals that can gather on the fibers. So there's a lot of techniques and tricks and stuff. I'm the one in the Sawyer DMs. If anyone has trouble and they're like, my filter, I'm happy to give out some back flushing tips. Okay. But truly, the biggest part of back flushing, the most important thing, is force. So you want to force the water through as hard as you possibly can. The plunger will not reach a PSI that could potentially damage the fibers, so you don't have to worry about it. But you're forcing the water the opposite direction through the filter to dislodge all of the sediments. Often you get a good brown sludge coming out if you haven't done it in a while. Very satisfying. But yeah, make sure you're really going nuts with forcing the water through, because that's what's really going to make it an effective back flush.
For sure. And also, choose your water sources wisely. Sometimes you don't have that luxury, but if you have multiple sources feeding into a larger body, and the larger body is full of silt, maybe choose one of the little inlets instead of the giant silty garbage water.
Totally. I've seen people do a pre-filter where they have a bandana that they'll put in between their filter and their bottle.
I'll do it with a shirt.
Yeah. I've done that. That's fine. You can catch big pieces of leaves and stuff like that before it even goes in the filter. It's not necessarily cleaner water coming out, but it is gonna, help you extend your use until you need to back flush it.
Okay.
Okay, so then on that note still of filter care. So like we talked about this when, it freezes. So it doesn't work pretty much after it freezes. Would you mind talking about why it's important to sleep with your filter on cold nights? What happens if water in your filter freezes? Can we just I'd say talk more about that. Especially living in Colorado, we deal with a lot of, under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So
we've all frozen
the
a
Sawyer
filter.
site.
Yeah.
But Sawyer says 33 degrees, doesn't it?
Does it?
It says 33. Yeah, it says 33F.
I would say freezing. I've been taught freezing. So yeah, I'll hop into the tech behind it. So the Sawyer filter is a hollow fiber membrane. It's a physical separation by size. So that's why it does filter out things like bacteria, protozoa, cysts, and 100% of microplastics. But it doesn't filter out things like dissolved metals, like chemicals and viruses, because those are really, 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 really tiny. If the virus is on a host, like a vector, like a bacteria, then it does get filtered out. But if it's just free in the water, that's pretty rare. So you're pretty rarely going to encounter anything that you wouldn't be able to filter out with the Sawyer filter, at least here in America.
So you're saying if someone with norovirus pooped upstream, the filter isn't going to get that out. So have chlorine tablets with you.
Is that why everybody got sick on the PCT in our year?
Well, see, I'm going to get a little gross and a little sciencey. If you're pooping,
perfect.
That's like E. coli bacteria that would be making you sick, right? And the virus would technically, like the norovirus would technically latch onto something in the poop. Like it needs a vector, the viruses, it needs a host. And so it doesn't last long in water. It's actually kind of difficult to get a virus from a water source just because of how viruses function.
Because they usually aerosolize, right?
Yeah.
You usually inhale them.
Yeah, and touch as well, like going to a picnic table and a shelter and, sharing food, that kind of thing is a really, really common way to get noro. That's why like hand washing is super important when there's an outbreak. But going back to like the filter freezing, so it's by size. These fibers are taking out anything that's bigger than 0.1 absolute microns, which is industry setting. Most of the other hollow fiber membranes, I believe, none can claim the 0.1 absolute. They can claim up to 0.1 absolute, but not necessarily like they use nominal, which is 1 power degree bigger. So we have one more 9 at the end of our what we can filter out. But what happens when you have a wet filter and it freezes, there's water in between those fibers, and the water expands when it freezes. That's why I think just freezing, like freezing temperatures, that's when you should sleep with it. Or if you think it's going to be, it's going to get to that temperature, just go ahead and sleep with it or put it in your puffy. But when the water freezes, it expands permanently that space in between the fibers. And that means that things bigger than 0.1 absolute microns are getting through the filter and could potentially make you sick. So it's just not as effective anymore. We've had folks ask, like, is there a way I can tell if my filter has been frozen? There's like a bubble test that folks do with other filters that our engineers don't necessarily say is effective. But the test to get the filter tested to see if it's as effective is more expensive than a new filter. So we're kind of like,
so you might as well just buy one.
Yeah. So if you suspect that your filter has frozen, just better safe than sorry. It's probably time to get a new one. Everyone's frozen one. But thankfully it literally is as easy as putting it in your bag and, keeping it from freezing.
Keeping it close to your body.
Yeah. On that note, if you're traveling with a Sawyer filter, it is okay if the filter is not wet because there's nothing in there that's going to freeze, right? So if it's a dry filter, if it's never been used, you're fine. But if you're traveling and like it's a wet filter, like make sure you take it in the cabin with you instead of putting it in checked baggage because it could freeze under the cabin.
That's a good little tip right there. Travel with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It can go through security. So
yeah.
I guess the other test to know if you froze it is if you get sick about a week or two later.
That's
you probably
true.
Froze it.
That's true.
Yeah. Not fun.
Not fun.
Yeah, that's good. I think you're the next questioner.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to skip this question because we've already talked on it. This is all about the insect repellents.
Woo!
Which was great, by the way. I feel like I learned a lot too.
Yes.
So,
and you kind of just touched on this a little bit, but what impacts or contributions, including humanitarian programs, is Sawyer working on or working with?
Yeah, so Sawyer's actually a family-owned company. It's based in Safety Harbor, Florida. It's a pretty small team outside of like the manufacturing. And Kurt Avery, who's the owner, it's our 40th year. Happy birthday, Sawyer! But
happy birthday!
once he got the hollow fiber membrane technology optimized, he wanted to give back, and he donates. Sawyer donates 90% of their profits to clean water work around the world. We have over 140 charity partners working over 80 countries. There's transformational programs, which are like the Kibera slum in Nairobi, Kenya, has 400,000 people and 78 bathrooms. And they did not have access to clean water. And Dan Becker kind of helped us tell that story of what our charity partner there, the Bucket Ministry, is doing. And now they've raised the amount of money that they need to finish the project, which will now complete in the next couple of years. Every single person will have access to clean water in Nairobi, Kenya, because of Sawyer Filter. So we have those transformational programs, which are really like meeting people where they are, really trying to improve access with a sustainable solution. We also have disaster relief. So a hurricane, an earthquake, whether it's here or abroad. We were in Hurricane, I want to say Fiona in Puerto Rico recently, and the earthquakes in Turkey, Syria, and then here in the United States too, where we can help. We work with the Red Cross and Team Rubicon and lots of disaster relief organizations to kind of provide help on that front too.
So cool.
I love that so much. And I love that. I mean, knowing also that we're buying Sawyer products and this is where it's going. Like, it feels like so much of it is going to help people and help people actually have clean water and not get sick or die. I mean, that's a big deal. And it's wild to think that we live in a world now where that is still something that we're working through, you know, that people don't have clean water and we're just so used to having it here in America.
It's a solvable, it's a solvable problem too. That's what's so inspiring about it. Like, folks realize it's a solvable problem, and so putting the work into it is making huge impacts for people's actual lives. The programs that we have, like the training and the check-ins with homes, and even the communities that we choose to go into, is all based around the UN Sustainability Goal 6, which is all about water access and hygiene and like sustainable clean water access. And that means like they don't have to travel more than 15 minutes one way to get to a water source. And so we really want to make sure that we're bringing people forward with the technology. If, you know, they're drinking out of a source that is contaminated, we can make a difference there, you know?
Yeah.
So powerful. I love that so much. Well, I guess I have a question, and then I would love for us to, you know, plug in how people can find you, how people can find Sawyer. But before that, is there anything else that you would like to share with our podcast listeners or us?
And do you pronounce it potable or potable water? I say potable because it would be potable if there were two T's.
Wait, is this a thing?
Yeah.
People do this? I didn't know.
It's drinkable water.
I call it potable.
I also call it potable. I haven't heard potable.
Good for you. I heard it a lot in Georgia.
Oh,
that might explain why.
Well, I feel like that explains it.
I think it's potable.
I think it's potable. I think.
Just curious.
Now I'll say potable forever.
Potable.
Please don't.
Yeah. But is there anything else before we wrap up that you would like to share that, you know, you're thinking about or?
Not really. If anybody's going to trail days this year, several trail festivals. I'll be at Pinhoti, at Pacific Crest Trail Days, at Appalachian Trail Days, and a couple other random places in between. So don't be shy. Come say hi at the booth. My dog will most likely be there too.
Awesome. Oh, dog pets.
She's a good dog.
That's awesome.
She's a pretty good dog.
Do you have any Thru-hikes planned right now?
Ooh, yes, that's the last question I was going to ask.
My next backpacking trip is actually with Jennifer Farr Davis. She's one of our Sawyer ambassadors who
nice.
held the FKT of the Appalachian Trail for a long time. She's a Southern Appalachian girl too. We're actually from about 1 hour from each other, and she lives in Asheville with her family. I got to like see her last week, and she's so sweet. But we're doing a backpacking trip together in April soon, within a month, from Max Patch to Hot Springs, which is this really gorgeous section, and we're taking a couple of folks that have never been backpacking before, and we're kind of showing them trail culture, because it's going to be like right in the bubble of Thru-hikers, and there will be shelters, and we're not doing too much. It's not like distance, and it's not what I would consider like a through hike for me, but it's a really fun little community experience that we're kind of getting to do together. It's a really fun experience, a literal dream come true on my end.
Okay.
Oh, that's amazing. That sounds so exciting. Honestly, getting to bring people into the world of through hiking who have never done it. We've been talking about that too. We'd love to do like start a company like that just to show people you can do this. And if you've been wanting to do it, here's a little taste or a little easy way to do it to get you started. Yeah. And I just love that.
Totally. My job is also quite easy because the Sawyer Products, water filtration and insect repellents, are both very helpful to break down barriers that people have to accessing the outdoors, whether it's like a knowledge barrier, like knowing that you don't have to carry 5 liters of water for 2 days, you know, if you just have this one little 3-ounce thing that just goes on a Coke bottle, or if bugs are what are limiting people's enjoyment of the outdoors, like, oh, there's actually something that can change that for them, which is really cool. It makes my job pretty easy.
Perfect.
Well, I guess to wrap up is where can people find you, whether social media, websites, anything like that? And also how can people find Sawyer, which I'm, but yes, both those plugs.
Totally. I'm Oats. I'm at Oats Hikes on most platforms. I have a website, oatshikes.com, with all of my like recent projects and works and stuff, but truly I'm all up in Sawyer right now. I'm really I really pivoted from having a pretty robust freelance business to just doing Sawyer full time, because I actually started as a freelance consultant with them before I went full time, because I wanted to make sure it was a good fit, and it really felt like this was the work I wanted to be doing. So much more in the Sawyer sphere than in my freelance phase, but Sawyer.com has lots of information about products, the international work, and you can see the blog, so you can see the awesome pieces like what Wes has written for us and other members of our Sawyer squad, and even just random things that I've written. The most recent one was for International Women's Day, where we featured 3 of our charity partners that are women-led or women-centered, and they're making really huge impacts in the areas they're working in.
So cool.
It's pretty fun.
Wow. I need to read. I'm glad you shared that. I'm going to read that.
Yeah, totally. It's got a quote from Heather Anderson. She also held a couple fastest known times. She's one of our ambassadors. She went to Uganda in February with All Good, Whitney LaRufa. And Impact Nations was the name of the charity that they went with. And she has been doing some really beautiful storytelling about that experience on her Instagram page. But I was able to pull a really impactful quote that she made about the clean water crisis disproportionately affecting women, which was very interesting. So I totally recommend checking that one out.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well,
we'll have links to your socials, and we'll have a link to Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Oats, Katie, thank you so much for being on the show and talking to us about Sawyer Products and kind of opening the door for some people who may otherwise be, I guess, opposed to going outside because of bugs or the water issue. So you've helped clarify that a lot. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Y'all are fantastic. I'll always come talk poop stories too. Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
Poop stories. Those are my other topics that I can certainly consult on. Yeah.
We would love to have you back on.
Awesome.
Wait, before you go, roll your die one more time for us.
Oh yeah, give us a number.
3.
Oh,
it's a bad day.
Wait,
it's a bad day.
Is under 10? Is under 10 bad and then over 11's good?
Usually, sometimes you can have a good skill. So I have pretty decent charisma, so I might add 2 to that, but a 5 still isn't quite good.
Okay. Well, I think you rolled a 20 on this episode.
I think so, yeah.
That's so
I know.
cute.
I think it'll be really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All
y'all.
right, dude. Well, we hope you enjoyed the interview with Sawyer. That is going to be the first half of this 2-part episode dealing with water sources, water filtration, and all things water in the Thru-hiking community. The next episode, the second half of this one, is going to cover an interview with CNOC, aka CNOC. Cool. Well, we hope you enjoyed that interview with Sawyer. We also wanted to let you know what we personally use for our own water filtration on trails. So we use 2 things. We won't get into the water bladder just yet. We'll just talk about purifying the water that we put into our bodies. The first thing that we use is a Sawyer Squeeze. So not the mini, but the larger Sawyer Squeeze, the 28 millimeter mouthpiece that Katie was just talking about in the episode. And we also use chlorine tablets because sometimes we don't want to sit there for X number of minutes and filter our water.
Sometimes we're lazy.
And we just want to grab and go. And we'll use those chlorine tablets if it's a viable looking water source. So it's kind of clean, maybe coming from high in the mountains or from some snow melt. We definitely would not just chlorinate our water if pulling from a cow pond.
No. I also did use the Sawyer Mini, or I use it when I'm running.
Whenever you're
ultra
running.
Yeah. I prefer that. But I love the Sawyer Squeeze. Honestly, I think it's so cool. We did this one video where you can see this disgusting murky water. And then you watch as like Wesley was filtering it and it's just clear. It's just so crazy to me how something so small can filter your water out like that.
Yeah.
So I'm so appreciative that someone actually created that versus, I mean, remember the pump filters that people used?
Oh, the MSR pump ones?
Yes. Yeah. Those would have taken for fucking ever.
Yeah. And I do want to emphasize that we have not been paid or we're not sponsored by Sawyer. We just interviewed Sawyer because they responded. We are firm believers that each hiker should choose their own water filtration device and just kind of know what your options are. So before just jumping into looking at Sawyer Products, which we highly recommend, do some research on your own and see what other water filters are out there. And if you want to use chemical purification for your water, that's also an option as well. But I will say that you should not use iodine purification for routine water filtration or purification.
Which apparently is something people do.
Which is something that people do and have done.
Yeah.
Chlorine, way more okay, way more regular for purifying your water. But iodine should be used in emergencies only.
That's it. That song, you said chlorine. Isn't that song?
Sipping on straight chlorine. Do, 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 do.
There it is.
There's a funny story about this. On the PCT, right when we got to the split for Mike's place, there were like 2 water tanks, and we got there, and there was a whole like small army of hikers there. And there was one hiker in particular. His name was Chief.
Sorry, Chief.
He was 19 years old.
We're about to throw you under the bus.
We're going to throw you under this bus.
It's great.
And we had never met this kid before. For some reason, he decided to come up to us and ask us. So he had gotten water straight from one of the tanks, which was not purified. And his water was yellow.
He chlorinated the shit out of it.
But not with tablets. He added bleach.
Bleach.
So you can add bleach to purify your water. I would not suggest using this regularly. This is sodium hypochlorite. This is like an emergency purification method as well, just like the iodine stuff. And he was like, do you think I put too much bleach in here? I'm like, your fucking water is yellow, dude. It looks like piss.
It was so
I was like,
funny.
yes, that's too
We're
much
like,
bleach.
Yeah, that's probably too much. He was like, okay.
we love Chief. He's such
Chief
a good kid. Yeah.
No. We actually knew Chief through most of, like, I feel like we kind of parted ways at Kenny Meadows South because he decided to take a couple weeks off and we kept going through. And so we didn't really see him after that, I don't think.
No.
But yeah, he good kid. Good kid.
Can you imagine doing something like a thru hike at the age of 19?
Man, I'd have so much more energy.
Seriously.
I'd probably wake up like 6 o'clock, be like, whoa, let's go. And then go all fucking day.
Is that what you would do?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I just think about when I was 19. Yeah, I would. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? That was almost 20 years ago.
Wow. If that doesn't date us, I don't know what does.
Oh, that's so sad. Okay. Anyway, I can't even. That just breaks my heart. Okay.
Do you see the dark clouds over Basecamp's head right now?
It's so sad.
Crackling lightning coming down.
I just turned 36, so it's like, damn.
Yeah,
Yep.
happy belated birthday to Basecamp.
Thank you.
3/11 is her birthday.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing we did on my birthday is we, sweet Stacy Todd, one of our dear friends here in Colorado, she actually watched Loba, our dog, for us. Loba is a cock blocker.
She's a huge
Loba,
cock block.
like, doesn't like when we kiss. She doesn't like when we have sex. Like, we close the door and we have tried to figure out creative ways to try to keep her quiet. So we have like a game of food around the apartment now where we've got one of her big game foods by the door so she can't hear us. And then we've got another, like a Kong with peanut butter, frozen peanut butter. And then we've got like a few little treats somewhere else. And then we put her crate against the door so that she can't like get to the door, because one night she opened the door.
we have to premeditate all this, so we'll intentionally not feed her.
We'll just starve her.
We'll starve her out and then give it all to her at once.
It's probably why she was having GI problems one time.
Until we can sort out this issue that we're having.
Because she whines while we're having sex. She's like, me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So we figured this out enough where we have like 20 minutes of quiet before it starts. And so anyway, so Stacy watched her for a night. We got an Airbnb, like an epic Airbnb. Shout out to that place. It's in Crestone, Colorado, close to the Great Sand Dunes. It's
weird ass place.
So cool. It's like Prosperity Way is the Airbnb. It's got a geodome with a wood burning fire stove
and
in a hot tub, and then a house where we had like this epic kitchen. We had these beautiful views of the mountains, the Sangre de Cristo?
The Sang de Cristo.
The Sang de Cristo mountains. Yeah. But so that was also part of my birthday, which
blood
is
of Christ.
So nice. And we had like uninterrupted sex.
It's pretty great.
Like multiple times.
It's pretty great.
Just getting it all in.
And the area is super weird, like I was saying though. They have like a shrine. It's super hippy dippy. They have a shrine out there that's famous. I forgot the name of it. The grocery store / gas station was called what?
Elephant Cloud.
Elephant Cloud?
Elephant Cloud.
Everything was organic in there.
And smelled like a hippie place.
You want to tell them how much a gallon of organic milk was?
You ready for this? $12.50.
$12.50.
Yep, Crestone for
better be some damn good milk.
You better be. It's like sucking off the teeth.
Milk of the poppy.
Milk of the puppy.
We've been watching Game of Thrones a lot.
Again.
Milk of the poppy is a thing.
Again, for the second time. I have so many feelings about Game of Thrones as a storyteller. It breaks my heart, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end. We're now in season 7, and I'm just so upset. I'm so mad. I'm so angry.
We just got to the episode and finished it where Daenerys and her Dothraki like attack the loot train.
Oh, it's so good.
It's called the Spoils of War.
Here's the thing about storytelling, right? And this is probably why it left such a bitter taste in everyone's mouth at the end. Because when you build a story up and you give all these little hints throughout the entire fucking story for 7-8 years, you inlay all these things. And Daenerys' destiny was to rule. Like, she was supposed to rule. Or my theory is that there was a prophecy in season 1, now that I've seen it again, where she actually like she walks into this door and there's a burnt throne of the Red Keep with snow falling.
This is season 2.
Season 2. Okay, yes.
Which she goes into the Warlock's tower.
Yeah, in the Warlock's tower where he's got the dragons. And she sees this like prophecy. It's a vision, and the throne is completely burnt to the ground. It's the whole like the throne room is burnt, but there's snow everywhere. It's not ashes. It's fucking snow. And I think that no, it's snow. It was snow. It was totally snow. It was not ashes. But I have this theory that George R.R. Martin fucked those guys over because they did not end well. Season 4 on, they stopped using him as like an influence, storyteller, scriptwriter, and they pretty much pressured him into buying the rights from him. I mean, that's true. Like, you can read that in the news. They were like, your fans are going to be pissed at you and you have to do all these things. And so you need to tell the story. Like, you need to give us the story so that, like, what if you die? Pretty much, like, somebody needs to know the end. So he gives them the end, and I think he fucked him. I really do. I think he fucked him hard in a bad way. And I think that he told them that Daenerys burns King's Landing to the ground. But I think he didn't give them any roadmap to get there. And so they didn't know how to turn and burn this thing. And so I think what happened is the Night King gets into King's Landing with all the fucking White Walkers, and she's got to save the people. So she burns the White Walkers to the ground, and she has to, in that process, burn her throne.
She's clearly very passionate.
I'm just saying, it makes way more sense than all of a sudden Daenerys, who we see through 7 seasons, who is a just ruler, who cares, who has empathy. I'm sorry, but no one in one episode would turn and just burn everyone to the ground. No, I don't like it. It did not make sense. It didn't make sense. That's my rant. And then Jon Snow. Jon Snow is a Targaryen. Why in the world would you make the Targaryen, like, if he's half Targaryen and half Stark? Wesley's blowing his nose. If he's half Targaryen and half Stark, why not just make him Ned Stark's fucking bastard? Like, what's the point in making Jon Snow a Targaryen and a Stark if he's going to go back to the Wall?
Yeah, for real.
There's no point to his story then.
For real.
There's just no point other than he was supposed to kill the Night King. Like, that should have been his destiny then. If you're going to put him back on the Wall, don't make Arya the killer of the Night King.
Also, can we talk about Jon Snow's, like, cave romances?
I can't wait to read George R.R. Martin's world in this because I swear those guys, they just ruined Game of Thrones for me. Ruined it. They don't deserve the story.
Also, whenever she says Daenerys' name, she usually says it a different way. So I've heard, like, Daenarian,
no.
Devonian,
no.
Diedrich.
No, I have not. No, I have not.
Dionysian.
No, I've never said these words. I've never said these words. I'll say something like maybe like Daenerys. Darnarius maybe is one.
Oh, Darnarius was my favorite.
I said it by accident. Okay?
Darnarius.
Anyway, I get very passionate about Game of Thrones. Like, also, Bran should not be the king at the end. Like, he's the third-eyed raven. He's got too much shit to do than rule a kingdom.
Bran becomes like this stoic, soulless individual after becoming the three-eyed raven. He's boring as fuck. He becomes a robot.
And you know what? The third-eyed raven before him was not like that. He was very passionate.
The three-eyed raven?
Oh, there's three. Okay, sorry.
The third-eye raven.
Three-eyed raven. Third-eyed raven.
It's the three-eyed raven.
The three-eyed raven.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like the only person in that storyline that was actually accurate to their story was Sansa.
Probably.
Becoming Queen of the North. Like, she actually deserved that, in my opinion. I think agree. That's the only justified feeling I had in this story.
Don't you just love how she kills a Ramsay?
Oh, so great. With the dogs.
After he rapes her, she tortures him.
It's amazing. It was brilliant.
John beats the shit out of him.
And then Arya, like Arya with Walder Frey, that whole scene when she kills Walder Frey and the entire household was brilliant. She should have killed Cersei.
She should have.
Like, she set out to do something. And this is what you have to do in storytelling is you cannot break your audience hearts like that. You cannot turn a story like that at the very end when you've led up to it for 7 seasons. You can't do that to them. Now, the Red Wedding is different. That is a way different idea. Like, you turn on, you give a shock and awe to the audience. But if you're having your hero characters that you've had the entire way through, you can't do that to the audience. That's like very cruel. And anyway, they just weren't storytellers. They took George R.R. Martin's story and they started it, but they weren't storytellers because they didn't know how to tell a beginning to an end story.
I feel like just before they shot the episode where Arya like switches and goes to Winterfell, isn't that around where Ed Sheeran pops into the show?
Yes.
I feel like the writers were like sitting down, eating a bowl of Fruity Pebbles one morning, like, bruh, what if she goes to Winterfell and kills like the Night King? And they're like, bruh, yeah, let's do that. And that's where they fucked themselves over.
But you know what I think, though? I think George R.R. Martin said that to them to see how dumb they were.
I hope he did.
Feel like he was like, let's see how stupid these writers actually are. Let's see. Let me just tell them, how about this? Daenerys just burns King's Landing to the ground. Jon Snow goes back to the wall. Bran becomes king, and Arya kills the Night King.
Now let's get this over with and let's go write Star Wars.
Pretty much, because they were like, we're done. We're tired. Yeah. We've been contracted probably a lot of fucking money to go write Star Wars, where they also completely bombed.
Did you just say Star Wars? Stars. Hold the door. Hold the door.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. That's just a Game of Thrones tangent.
Game of Thrones tangent.
Just getting it out there.
The other half of this episode coming up soon, where we interview CNOC and we get into some other hiker testimonies on the water filtration that they've used, and we talk a little bit more about water bladders and like how to get water from kind of a crappy source.
Yep.
Thank you to The Fire Once Lost for our intro and our outro. He has actually got a new song released. And
go check it out. It's called really good.
Bannerman. So go check it out.
Does he watch Game of Thrones?
I don't know. We should ask him, though. We'll have a link to all of The Fire Once Lost socials in the show notes. And as always, thank you for listening to our podcast.
Yes, thank you for listening. We really appreciate all of you that listen. And if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, please email us at yetiwalksintobasecamp@gmail.com, or you can DM us on our new Instagram channel, Yeti Walks Into Basecamp. We would love to hear from you. You have no idea, you guys, how much it means to us when people comment on like what we're doing, because it's sometimes like podcasting, we're doing it more for us, but we also really want to help other people out. And so knowing that we are helping other people out just gives me like another just boost of fire to be like, this is worth it.
Yeah.
So
also wanted to read a quick little message that someone sent us on our Instagram.
Do it.
Our Yeti Walks Into Basecamp Instagram. Yeah, do you want to read this?
I'll read it.
Here, you read this.
Because Wesley's choking over here.
So this is from Virginia B. Thank you, Virginia, for sending this over.
Yeah, thanks, Virginia. She said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that your podcast is so great. I'm starting the PCT in early April, and it's my first through hike. Have a ton of emotions swirling around. Listening to you both talk about your hike and your experience has been so helpful. It's really helped make me feel like I can be successful at through hiking. Thanks so much, and please keep on making episodes.
Thank you for that, and we will definitely keep on making episodes. And I know we have a lot of these random topics thrown in. We just feel like they're really important to get out right now for the class of 24 starting their treks. But we also want to continue talking about our PCT hike from 22. So episodes of that will be coming up in the future. We haven't dropped the ball on that, I promise.
It's like Game of Thrones. It's going to take like 8 years to get through our PCT journey, and I promise you our ending will not disappoint you. It's actually a very beautiful ending.
Yeah. It's like full circle and satisfying ending.
Like you'll love the ending. So, you know. But anyway. But yeah, thanks guys for listening.
And also, plug here. So by the time this episode is released, we'll have already released an episode about poop. I know we said this before about our paid subscriber episodes. Poop will be our first actual paid subscriber episode. We will not be releasing that one to the public. So if you want to check out that episode and hear what we have to say about all of our poop anecdotes, we have some great questions from listeners. You can either subscribe to us two ways: through our Patreon, which will allow you these subscriber episodes and additional content like photos from our episodes that won't be released on social media, gear loadouts. Whenever we do our resupply episode, that'll be on there. Basecamp will have that posted.
I have an Excel spreadsheet, you guys.
But if you don't want to do Patreon, you can also just subscribe to us through Spotify, which is where you'll be able to get on there and check out those subscriber episodes as well.
Yeah, we're going to try to do some fun ones like poop, sex, couple on trail. We'll keep it interesting.
Some good fun stuff
and
on
fun.
there. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. And again, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening, you guys. And as we like to say in the hiking community,
happy trails.